Do we have it? Okay. I'd like to call to order the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners regular meeting, Thursday, August 25th, 2016. Time is 6:30. Jackie, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. President Janner, absent. Vice President Riley.
Here.
Commissioner Egan, absent. Commissioner Ensign.
Here.
Commissioner Heidi.
Here.
Commissioner Todd.
Here.
Commissioner Young, absent.
Do we have anyone from the public signed up to speak?
No. And President Janner contacted me earlier, and he is out on business and would like to participate via phone. So if we could entertain a motion to allow him to do that.
Move to allow Rich Janner, who's out of town on business, to participate by phone.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Okay. Commissioner Todd.
Yes.
Commissioner Ensign.
Yes.
Commissioner Egan, absent. Commissioner Heidi.
Yes.
Commissioner Young, absent. Vice President Riley.
Yes.
President Janner, absent. Okay. Just going to take a moment to
Yes.
call him.
Well, this is like multimedia. You're doing the recording, he's doing the dialing?
I know.
I know the numbers he usually calls.
This will be one of them.
Jackie, please.
Commissioner Egan.
Hello.
Hi, is this Rich Janner?
That's me.
This is the IRS. Hi, it's Ray. We're in open session right now.
Did you guys vote me in tonight?
Yes, we
You're
did.
voted in,
You
sir.
voted in.
All right, I was worried about that.
It was a close vote, but we did. Okay, our next item of business is new business. First, we have ordinance 894 declaring necessity of use and authorizing the transfer of property for the benefit of the Naperville Park District pursuant to the terms of an intergovernmental agreement.
Move to approve ordinance 894, declaring the necessity of use and authorizing the transfer of property for the benefit of the Naperville Park District pursuant to the terms of an intergovernmental agreement.
Second.
We have motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Todd.
Yes.
Commissioner Ensign.
Yes.
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Heidi.
Yes.
Commissioner Young, absent. Vice President Riley.
Yes.
President Janner.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 895 adopting a policy establishing a limited public forum at the Fort Hill Activity Center.
Move to approve ordinance 895, adopting a policy establishing a limited public forum at the Fort Hill Activity Center.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Sure. Commissioner Todd.
Yes.
Commissioner Ensign.
Yes.
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Heidi.
Yes.
Commissioner Young, absent. Vice President Riley.
Yes.
President Janner.
Yes.
Okay, next we have discussion items. First is our portfolio overview with Tom Sawyer. And Sue, since you've had plenty of time to relax, do you want to make any introduction?
Yeah, well, I'm just, everyone knows Tom here. This is our annual review, and he's going to give us a quick overview where we are. And we met at the Finance Committee last meeting to do our June review. All great information, and I'm sure it's going to be a happy presentation this time.
Yeah, it is generally good news. Emphasis on quick, I think, was what I heard there, Sue.
Can we start playing the Rush song?
It's my ringtone on my phone. I kid you not. It gets worse. I grew up in southeast Missouri, right on the Mississippi River. Would you be kind enough to take one and pass it down? I think I got copies from Moser, but, and this, do they have this in the packet?
You know what, this was sent to you in a weekly packet.
Yeah, it's the same
A
thing.
couple weeks ago. It's probably the same.
Jackie, you mind taking a stack and then send them that way? I'm just going to hang on to one myself, and we got a couple spare individuals.
Thank you. And if you recall, Tom and his team manages a fixed income portfolio, which is one piece of our investable funds, and these are reserve funds. So we typically have not used these since our initial contribution in 2011.
Exactly there, but they're always there if you need them.
Exactly.
Which is kind of what makes it work. Good evening. Who let the suit in? You know, it's kind of feel decidedly over, except for Mr. Egan here, I'm decidedly overdressed for this group tonight, I think, in your workshop. But I do appreciate just a few minutes. It's good to get out and see you and give you an update. And certainly I'm happy to answer any questions that we can if we take a quick spin through this. And this is our typical presentation that we provide to the Finance Committee and staff in order to come out and see you. And let me walk you through briefly what we've got here. If you go to tab 1, and what you'll see, if you're looking at tabs, investment policy guidelines, the Park District does have a full investment policy as is required by statute. It's well developed. You've probably seen it in here before for various approvals and those kinds of things. This is just kind of the key risk management components of that. Are a couple of performance benchmarks that are appropriate for short-term kind of risk-averse type dollars, which this portfolio is. And then some duration and maturity parameters. Duration being your measure of risk and fixed income. We cap that at around 3 years in here. And we don't do much of anything longer than 5. So everything in terms of maturity is reined in from there. Tab 2 is performance as of June 30. And we do have some nice history. We've been working with you since mid-2011. But if you look at the top box, you can even look at the year-to-date column. It's been a nice year in the bond market, and it's been a good run overall. We started off with $6,137,103 in the portfolio. The only money that went out was the $6,181 that you see there. That would be us, our fee. And you net that out, we had $6,130,000 to work with. We closed out with $6,256,009. You net those, and the portfolio earned $125,087 on a total return basis for the first half of last year. Put that in percentage return terms. In the box down below, you can see the quarterly series, but the year-to-date column, that's 2.04% gross fee, 1.94 net of our fee, versus the 1 to 3 year Treasury index of 1.44, or the limited maturity benchmark. And T-bills actually are starting to support a little bit of a return again after the last Fed increase, not much, but 15 basis points for a kind of a true cash alternative that's out there. So you're performing nicely versus the bond market overall. Down below, you see the trend returns, trailing periods, 1 year, 2 year, 3, 5, and from inception as of June 30 of 2011. And this is the compound annual rate of growth. It's the true time-weighted investment return of your portfolio. And that far right-hand side, 1.28% gross fee, 1.08 net, versus your benchmark at 0.81. And cash has been about 6 basis points, or 6/100ths of 1% over that same period of time. You flip over one page, and you'll see kind of one of my favorite schedules that we put in our presentations. And briefly, what you're looking at, you see that contributions and withdrawals. That's the cash flows from the outside, net in and out of the fund, and you've only, as Sue mentioned, put money in. Your cumulative net investment is $6 million. That's your principal in. You're worth $6,256,000, so you've made $256,009 since we've been working together, net of expenses and everything. So that's the dollars you have that didn't exist beforehand. So if you take that annualized return, that 1.28, turn it into dollars, that's what you get. Tab 3, our market commentary, and this is dated June 30th. And I do promise you I'll be brief. There's a couple pages that talk about the equity market and kind of all that's going on in the world. To the extent that you have an interest in that, the whole Brexit effect that occurred going into the end of June. But more importantly, from what's applicable to our fund is, again, the interest rate environment and expectations for interest rates and what's likely to occur. And we'll kind of segment it into two pieces. And if you think about very short-term interest rates, that's a direct function of the Fed. And think maybe a couple years in terms of maturities. So, Chairman Yellen is scheduled to speak tomorrow, and the world is kind of hanging on the edge of the seats today. Not much action in the markets to see what is going to occur. There's a lot of speculation. In short, the Fed would sure love to raise interest rates, short rates, prior to year end. We had one rate increase earlier. They'd sure like to tick one more in there. If you believe in probabilities, you look at the interest rate futures to see, what the world thinks is going to occur, and it's reasonably reliable over time. You've got about an 18 to 20% chance they'll raise them in September, and about a 55% chance that they'll pick it up at the meeting in December of this year. So probabilities have bumped up that we may well get another increase in short rates this year. I'm of the opinion that the economic data, based on their mandate, probably supports it, short of inflation being a little bit low relative to their 2% target in there. But the general news is improved, not ebullient, but certainly they've got enough underpinnings in terms of the employment numbers and general economic growth domestically to support it. The Fed has gone beyond looking at just inflation and employment numbers and begun to look overseas, and that's really what has given them pause. And the Brexit effect that you saw in June certainly amplified that. So at the short end of the yield curve, it's hard to find. There's a pretty good chance I think we will see a bit of a bump in rates, which I would support, gives us a chance to get some things done in the portfolio. At the longer end of the yield curve, and if you think from the 3 to 5 year type range, that's a little more of a function of our expectation, or the economy's expectations, or investors' expectations of economic growth and inflation. And the 10-year Treasury at the time we put this piece out was at 1.4%. Once again, near historical lows. So that tells us a couple things, that, but in large part, that there's a lot of demand for the safety of U.S. debt. And if you stack our yield on a 10-year Treasury today at about 1.5% versus other developed economies, and look at their sovereign debt, a 10-year Treasury in Germany is negative 16 basis points. You got to pay them to buy their 10-year bond. Japan's been running a negative 25 basis points. Great Britain about a positive 80. Who else? With France, we toss in there is about a positive 16. So all of a sudden, the U.S. debt, 1.5%, looks pretty attractive. And that's just a way of saying that it's hard to find a reason that longer-term yields are going to get away from us on the upside. And so if you think about a ceiling on rates, on longer maturities, and rates are going to bump up a little on the short end, but it's going to be slow and slow like good barbecue. It's not going to happen overnight. So that says something about how we structure your portfolio. If you take a look at behind tab 4, we've got your duration at 2.32 years, just a little longer than the benchmark. We've extended out a bit, but not out of the 3-year max that we're allowed to go. We're being a little bit defensive, but there's enough investment lingo steepness in the yield curve that you're getting paid something, for some risk out there. So if you look at the yield to maturity, you're at 0.9% versus the market at 0.61. So you're getting 1/3%, that little bit of extra duration risk that we're taking in the portfolio. The current yield is the income the fund is generating divided by the market value, and your stated rate of interest is just about 2%, 1.99 in there. So we're risk managed, but you've got a yield that's overall a little better than the market. The balance of the presentation, behind that page, there's a sector breakdown that shows you where we're invested. This happens to exclude any loose cash we might have laying around. But if you look at that annual income column, if excluding any change in the price of the securities, you're generating just under $120,000 a year in cash flow now into this fund. That's just pure interest, hard dollars in to the fund annually. And then tab 5 are transactions during the quarter. If there was any big shift in the portfolio or something unusual, I pointed out to you, but otherwise you'll just see a collection of transactions, keeping your money put to work for you as we go along. And then tab 6, for those that are interested, a listing of all the individual securities. U.S. Treasury notes, U.S. government agencies, and municipal bonds that are taxable in nature, not taxable to you, because you're not a taxable entity, but of that category at the tail end. And that's about, other than CDs, all the latitude that you have within the Public Fund Investment Act, which is the body of the statute that governs what we do in this fund. And part of our job is to keep complying with that as well, in addition to the investment policy. So net, I think it's been a nice story since the crew's got this thing up and running. It's certainly benefited at the district level. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I would be happy to answer any questions.
So our investment policy prohibits anything below what bond rating?
You're, I think we double A in there, I believe. Yeah, double A or better, and we're doing geo only.
Never buy Chicago bonds?
No Chicago, no Cook County, no state of Illinois. Now, you may see a Chicago name in there, or Cook County name in there, but that's a school district, displaced or something like that, so it wouldn't be a...
Because what do they pay, 8% or something?
We're up there, yeah. Beyond the fact that it's beyond your policy, borderline statutory now, so we'd shy away from that kind of thing.
Okay.
Any other questions for Tom? Thank you.
I thank you so much. We appreciate your business. It's good to see everybody every once in a while. And, just let me know when you want me to come out again. I'll come out and harass you.
Just for the benefit of everybody else that's here, this is basically exactly the type of summary that you give to the Finance Committee on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
So,
And I've been doing this about 30 years. I learned long ago that talking to some guy about his profit sharing plan or some lady about her, they don't want to hear you for half an hour.
Right.
I could get going, if you let me, but I wouldn't dare do that to you. But truthfully, I am at your disposal, and if you need more, just let me know.
Yep. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Have a good workshop.
Two.
Next item is program guide printing.
Okay, thank you. So on September 8th, at the board meeting, I'll be bringing a contract for approval for the next series of the quarterly program guide printing. We held a bid opening on August 11th. The bid document was sent initially to 70 printers, and we had 9 bidders, which is pretty good. We bid 2 different options. We did a 2-color and a full color, so 2 options for the printers to bid on. And this is something, migrating to full color, something that we've talked about doing for a while and wanted to price it out again to see where that came in. The recommendation that I'm going to put forth to the board is going to be to go with the full color option. The difference between the 2-color and the full color is $2,200 per season, or an annual cost of $8,800. So there's some other things I want to make you aware of as well. Going to full color will increase our efficiencies and will save us about 35 hours internally of preparation every quarter. So that's very significant. And
that saving some?
The main reason why we're saving approximately 35 hours a quarter, right now we produce 2 versions of the guide. We produce the 2-color that goes to print, and we also produce a 4-color version that goes online, because that's something that, we've been able to drive people online. That was kind of been the advantage. Go online, you can see the full color version. So there's no good way of making that happen with 1 document, so we essentially have to produce 2. So that's going to be a significant time savings there. One other thing that I'm going to put out for consideration and that we've been talking about in our department is we're going to be implementing a price ad increase. We haven't raised the prices of our program guide ad printing for about 5 years, so it's about time for an increase. We've been taking a look at some different publications in the community, ones that have a very similar circulation rate to ours, and even implementing a 20% price increase, it's still going to keep us below the threshold of those other publications that are essentially competitors in the community. Putting forth a 15% increase would bring in a total of almost $1,700 a quarter more, or $6,760 annually. 20% increase, which is what I'm really leaning toward, would bring an additional $2,230 per quarter, which would essentially cover it. I know that in talking with Brad, there have been some other advantages too, and this is all sort of related. As you know, earlier this year, we started delivering the program guide via mail. We've seen, I guess anecdotally, that that's really being able to get that program guide, I guess, a little bit more accurately in the hands of people. We've seen an increase in program registration and revenue really across the board, not in just any one specific area, but across the board, which really tells us that people are getting the information, they're responding accordingly. So my thought is that with having the full color, I mean, we all know how we feel looking at something that's 2-color versus 4-color. It's more appealing, more enticing, hopefully, make people want to take action more, and we'll see even greater numbers. So that's going to be my proposal. I don't know if you have any questions about that.
Just a question I had, and it's probably too early to tell, but any data collected so far on the opt-out of the print version?
We've had less than 100 people opt out, and that's promoting it since spring. So now we've had 3 seasons, and,
Right.
and I think 97 people have opted out at this point.
So is the increase in programs offsetting the increased cost in delivery?
Well,
We haven't gone through that yet. I mean, as we go through this budget cycle, that's something that we'll be able to look at. But overall, program revenue through the summer was up 9%, which was over $200,000. So I fully expect that, yes, the cost to mail the guide versus the door-to-door direct would be offset by the additional program.
because the difference on the high end of doing the mail delivery versus the door-to-door was about $60,000, I believe.
Do you feel like you'll lose any advertisers by bumping up the cost 20%
I don't believe so.
in one fell swoop?
I don't believe so. I still think it's a good deal. As I said, we've taken a look at some other publications, and we're still below those publications' thresholds for advertising. As an advertiser on behalf of the Park District, I expect to pay more for full color. I know the benefits of full color.
So you can
hopefully-
justify with the full
Absolutely, absolutely. And what we did is we took a look at the advertisers in fall as kind of like our benchmark and just took a look at, okay, if everybody in fall were to advertise full color, this is what it would look like. So that's how we got the price increases and what that would look like for a quarter and a half.
Any other questions? Thanks. Okay, Commissioners Park LED project.
Yes, in fact, I think the rest of all the items are mine. It's the park show.
Become mayor.
Can't wait for the portal.
Yeah, right, that's real exciting
I
stuff.
saved that for you.
Yeah, the first item though is the good story to tell. It's our fourth park that we're going to recommend to upgrade to LED lighting in our parking lots. This would be at Commissioners Park. We went out to bid. We received 4 bidders. We also did receive an approved Illinois Energy grant to help offset the cost by $5,718, which is a good story. We'll be recommending this contract at $37,011 with a payback of approximately 5 years, which is a good story.
What are we replacing?
Parking lot lamping, they're high-intensity lamps to LED. We cut the wattage from 288 to 70.
Great.
So the draw really
Was the old stuff, was it the blue mercury or was it?
Well, that was even before the high-intensity lamps, yeah.
Okay.
You can't get those in, they're out.
Good. Surplus items.
Surplus items, another exciting thing. We'll be putting out in ordinance 886, 1 vehicle, 2 mowers, a couple other pieces of equipment, and the community relations section of the admin building, the desks, partitions, and file cabinets. We'll be removing those at the end of August for the pending project there that will begin in the beginning of September.
Vehicle and equipment purchases.
Yes, included in the weekly package was 2 items. One is the replacement of a 2007 model Ford F-250. It's relatively high miles for us, just under 83,000 miles. It's up on our cycle now to be replaced. That will be at a cost of $32,472, and that will be off the Suburban purchasing contract.
And the other item was?
The second item is to replace a 2009 large capacity mower. We like to replace these as we approach 6,000 lifetime hours. This piece of equipment has cost us a lot of money to maintain, and it's definitely due. We're actually getting a real good price on this. It's a 2015. It had 30 hours of operation on it. It was used as a demo.
Oh, wow.
Okay. 2017 contract mowing.
Yes, in preparation for the budget cycle, we did have a contract this year. Well, we do have a contract this year with 2 years of options, but we're electing not to award that option in 2017 due to inconsistent performance for a current contractor, which is KCG. So we do have 6 bid packages out now. We're happy with the interest. We'll be opening those next week.
Now, we had problems with contract mowers last year.
Prior to that, we had the default one and bring in these. Actually, we had to go down the list about the 4th bidder.
Right.
And unfortunately, that company who performed well didn't bid for this year. Change of sales.
Okay. The last 2 items are kind of
The same with portalets, yes.
And refuse.
Last year, well, we really haven't brought portalets to the board for approval because it's been consistently under the 20,000 threshold. But if we do get any price increases, it may push us over that threshold for 2017. That's why I'm just letting you know that now that we may be bringing that to you in September as well.
Because you're getting more, or the costs are going up?
Well, we are using more, yes, more and more parks that offer a lot of facilities, a lot of activities. Residents, affiliates will pay during the season, then residents say, well, why'd you take it out, and why you put it back in the fall? So that's incurring a little cost. When we close our facilities for winter, we're getting a lot of requests from residents to have one out, such as at Pioneer Park or along the bike trail in select areas. So it may go over the threshold. In fact, we were just at it last year at 19 and some change.
And refuse?
And the same with refuse, garbage, lots of garbage, yeah. We go out on this, this is the third year of an option that we had on a contract award from 2 years ago. And so that's just up, so we have to put that out for bid now. That budget is normally comes in somewhere between 55K for the year. With the addition of the activity center for next year, given current pricing, we think that would be around 60K, but we won't know until we open up the bids.
Okay, move on to department updates. Sue, do you have anything to add?
Just a quick thing, we're working closely on budget. And then an update on, if you recall, a couple meetings ago, we talked about doing a possible budget amendment based on the timing of the construction at the Fort Hill Activity Center. Recall in 2015, we had planned to spend about $4.5 million as part of the construction schedule. Because of timing, we did not spend that year, so it just was going to carry over to 2016. We're working with Dirk and reviewing our budget and appropriation ordinance that we pass. In that ordinance, there's a provision that allows us to carry over funds from the prior year to the current year of unexpended appropriated amounts, as long as it's for the same purpose. So we have flexibility built into that ordinance that I didn't anticipate or didn't even realize was there until we took a closer look and Dirk found that in the ordinance. So we're not going to be bringing a budget amendment forward. An appropriation because for that purpose alone, it allows for a 1-year carryover based on construction schedules, perfect for this example. Be clear, this is not a change in the total budget, it was just an allocation of dollars between two fiscal years for us. Okay?
Yep.
That's it.
Marketing?
All right, well, my staff and I have been working on event planning and marketing for this little thing called the Fort Hill Activity Center. I don't know if you've heard of it yet. We're all set to open, to cut the ribbon on Saturday. Got a lot of marketing out in the community and really ramping up for that. We're going to have a great event on Saturday. We're going to have some food sampling. We've got...
Is the Ray going to be on?
I think the Ray is on permanently. Yes, yes, so no one will be disappointed. Do you have something to add, Rick?
I have nothing to say.
Okay.
Except that you should try the Ray. Yeah, actually have to be present when you try the Ray Lox and Bagel sandwich. I'm just saying.
Harry spoke highly of it today.
Anyway, so we have several sponsors for the event. We have a sock sponsor for the indoor playground. We have Dietta's Bakery, who's providing treats for everybody in the multi-purpose room. We're going to have some facility tours. We've got some open gyms going on, and people can check out the exercise programs that we're going to be sampling as well. So it's going to be a great event from 10 to 2. So you've all got your shirts. Attire for that day, shirts, name tags, and either tan or black pants or shorts. Your choice.
Do I have to dredge up my name tag?
Yes.
You're talking about the embossed ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll get on that tonight.
The second thing I wanted to mention, and I know Ray sent this out in an email, but I just wanted to reiterate, another facet that my staff and I have been working on is trying to secure some sponsors for Fort Hill. And we've had some success. We've got Pride Nutrition, who is coming on as a sponsor and being able to sell some of their products out of the activity center. They're also going to have their products featured in the cafe, in the smoothies and shakes that we're serving there. And then we also have Naperville Rehab Clinic, and they're going to be on site a few days each week. So again, 2 great opportunities for us to bring partners in for the community and see where that goes. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
IT?
Fort Hill, It's been all hands on deck, just busy there. It's truly been a team effort working with rec staff and community relations staff, marketing, those really cool, awesome digital menu boards you see on the wall. That was rec support helping with the TVs, the contractors helping get everything up. Our guys making all the connections, and then marketing, configuring all the the displays and making it all nice and snazzy. That's just one of the little small projects that you can imagine. There's a ton in there. So that's really where we've been focused on. And as far as the future of it, as more people go into it, more people use it, I'm sure there's little things that'll come up, but it's in really good shape right now. So
The Wi-Fi's been working well?
the Wi-Fi's been working well. What we are having an issue with is cell service. Those precast walls are no bueno for cell service in there. So and there's, what we're looking into, we've already purchased a cell signal repeater.
Right.
Really hard to find somebody who can install that. And it's also, it comes with a price tag. So we're looking around to see who we can get to install. When we ordered it from Verizon, they said, you really should get this professionally installed. And I was like, oh, I can try it. No, I broke the Wi-Fi, and then I had to fix the Wi-Fi. Yeah. So, long story short, we do need it professionally installed. So that's what's taking some time. And now as they look at the layout of the building, I sent them blueprints, and because of the material in the building, they might need a second repeater. I don't know. There's just the thickness of the wall and the metal and the rebar make it very difficult to get a good cell signal in there.
Because in addition to convenience for the public, obviously staff is going to be on site a lot, and
staff we can ask to use the Wi-Fi. And we can set up policies actually through our mobile device management, so that they automatically connect to the Wi-Fi anytime they're there. But your patrons are absolutely right. You can't say, hey, use the Wi-Fi, your cell phone's not working. So as soon as we got in that building, we started looking at options. That's why we bought the cell repeater. But now it's an issue of getting somebody to install it. So anybody knows anybody?
Current can't do that?
No, it's something pretty specialized. It's not just like a regular antenna. That's it. So.
HR?
Okay. In recent weeks, my staff, largely Janelle and Becky, are doing a lot to help Brad's staff get up and going in the activity center as far as orientation and different types of training. First aid, CPR, some emergency preparedness. So things are moving along in that regard. On September 8th, I'll be bringing a revised policy to the board for approval. And we are updating our bereavement policy. The governor recently signed the, hold on, let me make sure I get it right, Illinois Child Bereavement Act, and that allows for employees that are FMLA eligible to take up to 2 weeks, 10 work days off for the death or the attend a funeral of a child. It does not give additional time. It doesn't extend things, but it does give those 2 weeks of time off. So we're going to have kind of a general portion of our bereavement policy, and then the addition of the child bereavement part. So you will see that on the 8th.
Recreation.
Similar to many other departments, the past couple of weeks have really been consumed with Fort Hill and getting that open and ready. It started with, we actually had our volunteer coaches for soccer. We had our coaches meetings in the multi-purpose rooms while other areas of the building were still under construction. We were able to get them in the corridors and multi-purpose rooms just a little less than 2 weeks ago. Had about 500 coaches go through, got a lot of positive comments there. We officially opened up on Monday evening with a member preview night from 5 to 9 for those who had purchased memberships prior to the opening, and then officially opened at 5 a.m. on Tuesday and have been in full operation since. Seeing a lot of membership sign up right now. As of this afternoon, just prior to the meeting, we actually hit 800 members total. We've got 26 of those are walking track memberships where they just wanted to get a membership to use the walking track throughout the year. 5 of those are group exercise memberships, which is kind of a unique membership offering that we provided to those who are just interested in taking the classes. And then the remaining 769 as of right now are the full fitness members. So we're expecting a big day on Saturday for the grand opening. We're staffing up. We're adding some additional point of sale stations at the main control desk in anticipation of additional membership signups. that's really where we're at with that, really working with Sam's group and getting through Saturday. And then also working with Eric and with White Construction and working out some of the punch list items. There's little loose ends, little details that as you go through the building, we'll continue to work on over the next few weeks.
We had our first aid incident yet, or? No?
First aid incident? Nothing major, just little nicks and scratches, that's all.
First person walked in at 5:17 a.m.
Right.
I greeted him. Hello.
Wow.
Comments that I've heard, if anybody else has any comments, so comments I've heard from people in the community, very, very positive. The only negative comment I've heard, and I've heard from two people, is the lack of towels. And it would seem to me that if we're going to do that, then we're running a laundry business, and that's a step that might be less challenging.
At least right now.
Oh, towels aren't offered.
No.
There are wipes now, though.
Yeah, we have, within the fitness
Full
area,
body
there are
wipes.
wipes.
No, but for the,
We do encourage, we try to remind members to bring your own towels to the facility. But that really is, if we were to offer something like that, that is basically, you're now creating a laundry business. And the number of districts and facilities that we talked to that came out of the gates with the towel service and the amount of time it takes staff to just, they're constantly dealing with towels. And it's one of those things that's, once it's offered, you can't take it away. So.
Well, once you build up for it, I mean, you have to invest a lot to have the equipment to do it.
Correct.
So once you make that decision, you're committed.
Right. And within the design of the facility, we did account for in the future, if we found that that's something that we truly needed to add, we have the infrastructure in place to be able to do that. We designed space within the receiving area to where we can have a couple of washers and a couple of dryers there, so if it becomes an issue,
Well,
it's
I
something
mean,
we
you
need to add.
wouldn't have to necessarily do it for free either.
No, I think you probably do.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
Well, I went to a gym in Maryland and they charged for towels.
There's
I
not a
wasn't
place, there's not a
happy
place in
about it.
Naperville, there's not a place in Naperville to charge for a
Yeah.
towel.
But I mean, most of them have them. We don't.
But
It's kind of like free parking in Naperville.
Having gone to most of the gyms in Naperville here, quite honestly, you don't want to use their towels. And second of all, the size of the towel, if you're actually showering, you need
Well,
like three to
Cadwell
work
has
together.
two sizes, the little.
Yeah,
the
they're
little
doing away
ones,
with the one small one now, they just posted that.
And they just have the big ones now?
Right. So, long story short, we talked about that. I highly recommend that we don't
Seems to me
get
it's
into
something
that
you can
business.
move to.
Right.
I mean,
we're
we've
giving
got
you a free
enough, we're
towel,
biting
buy
off
one
enough
if you
stuff
want.
right now.
Well, and to the end that if we do decide to do that later, that's meaningful work for people with special needs.
Sure.
Even when I was
But,
at Craft,
yeah.
we employed people that,
Right.
that's all they did is laundry.
Trust me,
And they
people will
get to
tell
bring
us.
home
I think
Yeah.
there is that
a paycheck, which is
expectation.
important.
I've heard, I've done more tours, my head's spinning right now. I've had only people ask about the pool, and once I tell them what it costs, they go, oh, no. No, thank you. I'm glad you didn't build it. You know, but the towels, I've not had one person, when I mentioned we don't have towels, they said, that's not, you know.
I think a lot of it
That's
is,
actually the first
I think a lot of it is
time.
just, finding out. Once
Right.
you find out that there's not, okay, so you bring a towel.
When you're naked and dripping water and you don't have a towel.
Where you
find
go?
out
There is going to
quickly.
be a small stack that you can buy, like in an emergency. Like you forget your towel when you want to work
Yes.
out. Not
We have those there, yep.
So, for
Supply
just that
demand, the way to
purpose.
go.
He's got pictures.
That's right. How
$100 a
desperate are
towel.
you?
You can always air dry, Jerry.
But weren't you saying that, no, it was the door issue, right? So someone got locked out of their locker and came around inappropriately dressed?
No, there's.
There's an intercom.
That's why we're there, yes. We put an
Oh, you
intercom.
planned for it, it didn't actually
Didn't
happen?
happen, no.
Okay.
No, we have an intercom in each one of the locker rooms that'll connect you to the main desk.
Okay.
So,
Bring me a towel.
Really, with the number of people that we've had through the building, the number of positive comments, there have been a lot of positive comments.
Oh.
In the men's locker, in all seriousness, we've got dryers. One's position kind of higher, you can kind of dry yourself off. And then walk out and ask for a towel.
Yeah.
360.
Fair enough.
proceed to be arrested rather quickly.
In order, right.
Yeah, and in order, yeah, and on your way, you get one meal. So you get a Ray Bagel sandwich.
Ray, you're really taking the sheen off of what otherwise is a beautiful facility for a
Yeah.
All right.
What else?
The other information I wanted to share, our Toadstool and Pollywogs program, which is our environmental preschool program. We've had very high numbers in that program since introducing it a couple years ago. For the first time, we've actually filled every single spot, both at Cedar Park and at Knowles. Our other preschool classes, as of a couple days ago, we only had, 16 openings still remaining in all the different classes. So a very good enrollment year for our preschool program.
Quattro will be partaking in
Yeah.
Knowles this year.
In Toadstools? Very good.
Good.
That's all I have.
That makes you a toad.
You ready?
You're ready.
All right.
Cleaning.
He wants more snakes there.
2 updates tonight. The first one is
How many?
segment 5.
Is that
2.
Only two?
Just 2?
Yeah, 2-0.
Okay.
Each
There's
take-
no like.
They each take 40 minutes.
2-0 is a long way back.
Yeah, 2-0, not 2.
All right, so segment 5, DuPage River Trail project is rolling along. The prefab portion of the bridge has been shipped to the site. The contractors are installing the bridge abutments. The actual asphalt portion of the trail is scheduled to be installed in mid-September. And just so you all know, the intent is with the turf establishment along the trail, as well as all the new plant material, the Forest Preserve District of Will County asked if maybe we can do the ribbon cutting in spring of next year. So that allows for our entire growing season this fall, for all the new plant material to grow in. But once the asphalt trail is in, it's inspected. As you all know, with the intergovernmental agreement with the Will County Forest Preserve District, we're making sure they have the 4 inches of asphalt. So, for working with Kevin and maintenance, we have that thicker trail for driving on and maintaining it. But we're going to inspect that, and all that once it's completed, hopefully this September, they're going to get the green light and patrons can utilize the trail. But with the understanding the ribbon cutting is going to be next spring. So that's an update on that project. Next project is the Knock Park Central Maintenance Facility. Everything is going extremely well with that project. The foundations and footings are being dug. There's going to be starting concrete work very soon. As I mentioned earlier, there's a portion of the project where they had to remove the old fuel tanks. That happened last Thursday. The state fire marshal came out, everything went extremely well. However, with that being said, once they pulled the old tanks, they realized there was some fuel remnants left in those pits. We're very fortunate in those pits is mostly clay soils. That fuel did not go anywhere over the years, and we don't know if it was from a small leak in the tank or just years of usage that the fuel just kind of dripped down. Above those tanks is pea gravel. For instance, you really can't pack them down when you install them, so there's a lot of pores that fuel can kind of leach down to and sit next to those tanks. With that being said, we had CB&I who worked with us on Sportsman's Park. Their staff was on site. They evaluated the situation. They even had a pump truck. They pumped out any little bit of fuel that was left next to the tanks. They tested the side of those pits, realized they had to over-excavate a little bit. They over-excavated, but once they were done, they were ready to backfill with gravel. Both the 2 tank sites were actually filled in, were all set. Now, however, with that being said, since they actually found the fuel in the pits, they had to report it to the Illinois Emergency Management Agency. That's been done, so we followed this protocol, these steps. So the next step, we will be working with CB&I. They have to do what they call a 20-day certification and a 45-day report. That's to do additional testing to make sure that it is truly cleaned up, rather than we just sucked up some fuel and there still may be some in the ground. So they're going to do additional tests, do the reporting. It's what they call the regulatory agency closure reporting. So there will be a small change order with CB&I, about $13,000. That falls within a raised threshold, so we'll submit that to him for approval. And then there's going to be a small change order for excavating the additional soil around the pits. But besides that, when I talked to the construction management firm, Lamp Incorporated, there are no delays to the project schedule. If we've had any major unforeseen issues, we would have had delays, but this is really good news.
Okay.
No additional barn underneath, huh?
Yeah, no additional barn. That's it.
That's it?
Yes.
Just those 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, Parks and Golf.
Parks and Golf, well, we said farewell to all of our summer help. They're back going to school. So if you know anyone who needs a job, please send them our way.
That's a very important point. We are in a bad way, specifically because of the Affordable Care Act. We'll talk more about that during budget, but I just wanted to forewarn you, we've lost, last week, what, 3? Well, we lost 3 that just left.
That just left, yeah.
I
We
mean,
had to
for
overhire
better
our
jobs,
summer,
because
so we lost
there's-
over 25% of our workforce.
Because those are part-timers and they're
Yeah,
not
they're
getting
just here for the
insurance.
summer.
Yeah.
We had to overhire our summer because we couldn't secure enough of our 6-month or our under.
The private sector is offering more money and longer duration than we can
Can't
offer.
match.
And
Or
these
it's
are
gonna be a huge
30
hit.
hours or less, so they're not getting
Under
insurance.
30.
Some are, some are.
Yeah.
But some full-timers left as well.
No, but we did lose, we lost 2 to full-time jobs in addition. But we're working on it. And in addition to that, fall sports prep is starting. I'm sure you all feel this at home as well as us, but mowing our grass has not slowed down at all. It's really been a huge challenge to us. Just rain, and more rain. But otherwise, that's kind of it with parks. You know, we're just trying to keep up with all the mowing and all the sports setups. Golf, again, rain is impacting golf. We lost 2 significant weekends. You know, because if rain's in the forecast or if it's raining, people just don't come. But on the good side of it, the range and first tee project at Springbrook is going very well. They are done with the tee. They have 2 to 3 more days work left remaining to seed the practice area. The concrete pad for the range is poured. We are on target given we get the weather for opening the range on September 1st. The first tee should be open in late September, possibly the first week of October, which will be great news for all of our people that use the course. And then we hope that with a good overwinter and spring establishment of the seed, then the full range should be open sometime in May. As far as the revenues are going, overall, Springbrook we may be as high as 20% off by the end of the month. Just at Springbrook, Naperville is holding its own and contributing though towards that, because actually their range is up over 45% because of people from Springbrook going over there to use it. But there was one interesting thing that we found out that we really weren't aware of how many people came to the range and then went inside and bought food and beverage or may have bought a merchandise item. So those 2 revenue centers are down slightly as well. But when you combine the year-to-date for golf, we're still projected to hit our targets at the end of the year for golf operations, just not as favorable as it's been up until this point. So with any luck, we may gain ground, but we're still confident that we should hit our targets.
But the whole point of doing this project was so for next year that we would increase, you know, we'd have better use of the range next year and practice facilities, so you should see that the uptick on the food and beverage also.
We're hoping. And we are seeing a good positive impact of our grilling now that we do in both courses, so food and beverage overall is up. And then another good story is our Naperville Junior League team and the PGA, they need 2 more wins to go to the region. And that'll be in Minnesota. That'll be starting this weekend. So fingers crossed for that. And that's it.
Administration.
I wanted to bring up the Labor Day parade. So we've been stalking past commissioners and executive directors whenever we can find them, and I'm starting to get some responses, so we should hopefully have a decent showing. We are going to have a little reception that morning at 8:30, and I'll send all this detail to you at the admin building. I thought we'd just have a little breakfast, and then we will shuttle everyone over to the start for the parade. We're right at the beginning in the hay wagon. So if you happen to still be in contact with anyone that was a past commissioner and just could mention it again.
That's what I was going to say. Could you, you have a list of the past commissioners and EDs, you could send it around to the board?
Okay,
just as a
to see
reminder.
if you have any emails I've been trying to find, and I've been getting them from different sources, but I have a letter that I send, and that's gotten some response, so I am more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
I went to Commissioners the other day to take a picture of the plaque, because that has the years of some of the beginning ones. And then a couple of us, leadership team is invited as well, and a couple of us will be taking the banner. Just not Ray and I together. So, yeah, that's all I have going right now, just working.
Okay, next item on our agenda is executive session.
Move to adjourn to executive session to discuss imminent litigation under section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act.
Second.
A motion and second, any discussion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
Commissioner Ensing?
Yes.
Commissioner Egan?
Aye.
Commissioner Heidi?
Yes.
Commissioner Young, absent. Vice President Riley?
Yes.
President Janner?
Yes.
Okay. So Rich, hang on a sec.